like to welcome today Tina Casagrande. I apologize in advance for butchering her name. Casagrande, I got it? With the New Territory magazine. Please join me in welcoming Tina to the stage.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tina Casagrande. I'm the founder, publisher, and currently still editor of the New Territory magazine. Briefly about me, I grew up in Dixon, Missouri. Anybody know Dixon? Whoa, okay, cool. Famous for the Cow Days Parade and Festival, yeah. Kind of near Rolla, if you know where that is. So I grew up there. We moved to Lebanon, then I ended up at Mizzou. I did journalism and anthropology as my majors. I kept adding other stuff, so I have like biology and art minors. Absolutely no business background. Like I stayed as far away from that building as I could. And somehow ended up starting a business pretty quickly after I graduated. So I graduated, was working as a freelance magazine journalist, primarily focused on environmental issues. Either in the state or I've even done like California, Costa Rica, some traveling, but my heart's always been in the Midwest. Actually, that's a lie. If you had told me when I was 17 years old that I would say that on a stage, I would have told you were crazy. But as I matured and realized what more of where my values were, it really is helping people that like I know and can relate to. And the places that I've come to love. So all of these ideas had been like stirring in my head, right? As I was working as a journalist and kind of struggling to find my place in it, because I really was passionate about writing like the long form stories like that you would read in Harper's or the New Yorker or something like that. And the opportunities to tell those stories, especially whenever you're like an early stage journalist, just aren't as available, especially if you're not on the coasts. And there's a whole lot of things that we think aren't available if you're not living somewhere on the coasts. And I really wanted to change that. Because name me out some alternative names for the Midwest. Rural America. Flyover country. Plains Heartland. Yeah, those are good. Those are good. The New Territory. Yeah, we're trying to rebrand the whole area. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, that's in the next steps. I've also heard a thing I won't repeat on stage, but like a BF nowhere kind of place. That and flyover states aren't as attractive, and I really wanted to change that and also do something where we could have a platform, like as people from this rural America place, to have something really nice and sophisticated, focused on this area and buy-in from this area. So with that idealistic notion, I started a magazine. It went pretty well at first. We got about 160 subscribers from the start. And I kind of, did the math and said, well, if we keep doing this issue by issue, then we'll be sustainable at issue 5. But we had the early adopters, and then the numbers just tanked after that. And I kind of had one of my first of many come to Jesus moments. I actually started attending 1 Million Cups in Colombia, and started getting more of the business realigned. Some of our strengths are in our marketing and the fact that we have a beautiful, wonderful product. And we have an in-house team that can do a lot of the marketing. But the challenges have been that still not a lot of people know about it. And so we've tried a lot of different strategies to reach people. And part of the problem is that a lot of our people are a bit unreachable because we have this physical print product that is ironically mostly marketed online, right? So we appeal to certain customer bases that maybe aren't going to see our Facebook ad boosted or promoted. So we've gone out in person and done some more of that, but could still be doing better. And then we also I'm kind of becoming to realize, because we're still only at about 400 subscribers to the magazine, that we need to either add more products. I really would like to start doing more events, like maybe corporate sponsored events, because part of our problem is that we've started a magazine that's focused on a very wide, like 5-state region. And it's hard to find the right kind of sponsors to buy into an ad that we have in the middle of the magazine. So we don't do traditional ads, but we do sponsorships where you get a full page ad in the middle, and it's almost like a public radio kind of like, here's a highlight on the people who support our great journalism and literature. But it's hard to capture the right kind of businesses that would want to appeal to like a 5-state region. Okay. And so products, events would be good to get more local sponsorships, and then also connect with people face to face. And other than that, I'm open to ideas that you guys have to help us find a bigger audience. And maybe focus in a little better. So the problem is that we have this beautiful product. And we need to get them out to people and in people's hands, because I think it really speaks for itself when you're holding it. You realize that it is worth the price that we charge, which is $15 or $60 a subscription for 4 issues. And it's important work. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to your questions.
Are there any questions? So yeah.
Thank you.
So why no advertising?
This is okay. Very good question. Because advertising takes a lot of work. I'm sure, as like Jennifer could tell you, like going out and finding individuals to give you like $100 to a few $100 per ad is a lot of work, and that's something that I didn't want to spend my time doing, nor really invest in getting other people to do. And I think it's kind of a dying model, frankly. I wanted to create something good enough that people would feel compelled to like buy into the stakes of the magazine itself. I think whenever you open it and you see that there's no advertising, it's a more calm reading experience, and can really like stand alone as literature without being cluttered by ads. And then on a money perspective, like my desire is that this is a like great enough product that brands want to be aligned with us, so they're willing to pay a more premium price for a full page ad, or honestly, a standard price for a full page ad would be $3,000. And we're not at that point where we're asking that of our sponsors yet, just because our numbers aren't up high enough. But then it becomes like a brand affiliation thing rather than just like a transactional advertising arrangement. Does that make sense? This is something that a lot of magazines are doing in European markets or in more niche realms. Like there's a great publication called Iron and Air, and it's all about like people who love cafe racer motorcycles. Like these are like the old 1970s Hondas that they fix up and stuff. And so they have these brands that really want to align with that certain thing because they're reaching that certain audience.
Yeah. You may have said this, but how many subscribers do you have, and then what is kind of
We have about 4,000, or not 4,000, 400 subscribers right now. If we could get 1,000 subscribers, we would essentially break even on the production of the magazine. Ideally, we would have, 6. It takes about $15,000 to produce an issue, because we do pay our writers and try to pay them, in a way that like honors their work, which is another problem that I found as a freelancer. You don't get paid very well, but anyway, so it costs about $15,000. So if you do the simple math, $15 per issue, you can sell 1,000 copies and break even. If we had that plus 6 sponsors at $3,000 each, then we could like really be propelling forward. So it's a bit of a chicken and an egg thing, and I dropped everything, all of my other like satellite jobs that I have for a few months, thinking, okay, maybe if I just put my all into getting the word out about the magazine, then our numbers can go up, and I'll feel more confident approaching sponsors. And it did pretty well, but ultimately it wasn't totally worth my
probably, in retrospect, could hire someone for cheaper to go out and do that. But yeah. Sorry, what was your question?
And then like the geographic location of those homes. You said you covered 5 states?
Yeah. So we're the new territory kind of refers to the Louisiana territory. So we're looking at west of the Mississippi, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. The geographic coverage is pretty widespread. If I had, chosen to work on the slide last night, not watching the last two with the kids, I can show you that. But anyway, Missouri is the highest one, I think, just naturally by connection. But we're all over the country, and we have stockists mostly in the area. We have about a dozen in our 5-state region, but then we're also in Chicago, New York City, and DC.
Two questions. This looks like this is issue number 3. How often do you publish that? And next question is, who specifically are your customers?
Okay. Ideally, we publish quarterly. And we actually were on a great quarterly schedule the first year of business. That was partially due to my personal investment too. So we've been stalled out since May. We should have had our 5th issue out in May. It's done. It's ready. But money has been an issue, and an open book if you want to talk about, making sure you hire the right accountant and things like that. But anyway, so ideally quarterly, but not always.
So the subscription is a yearly subscription for 4 issues.
4 issues, yeah. The people who subscribed will be getting 4 issues whenever they come out. And then our target audience is kind of interesting because we have some groups that have naturally come along, and then we also have who we really want to reorient toward. Some of the natural groups are people who are in their 50s to 70s who enjoy fishing and hiking. We have a lot of farmers. They're our most engaged audience members. They'll write us the Facebook note, say, hey, I love this story, your font's too small, things like that. And they're wonderful, and they're totally welcome at the party. But who I really want to appeal to is people in their 30s and 40s, rising in their careers, who are leaders in their community, who care about making a positive impact where they are. That's what I have done. That's the kind of people I want to support, is people who are wanting to do something nice for the Midwest and not just gripe about being out here and not in New York City, So the optimists and the more youthful people. So that also means somewhat reorienting our magazine. It's been a lot of long form journalism. This one's very text heavy. So we are going to be doing some more infographics and shorter pieces in the front of the book. We'll maintain the long form journalism always. That's really important. But so we'll be orienting it toward those people because they have children and jobs and need to feel connected, and it's not a waste of their money if they don't get around to reading really long articles too.
You go about your contributors, your writers, and have a focus for your whole magazine.
Yeah, good question. I put out a bat signal and said, hey, we're doing this, and so many people responded. I haven't had to assign a story yet. People come to us with fantastic stories all the time, to the point where I do have to turn several away. So that hasn't been a problem. The writers and the journalist network out there, they all talk to each other. This is new and exciting for them, and so the supply is very high. I just need to find the place where the demand is. But and then as far as choosing a focus for each issue, so far that's come about really organically because I couldn't really afford to orchestrate too much. So the double take theme, I just assessed all of our features and then said, okay, I think all of this has one thread that ties with all of them. But now going into our 2nd year of production, we'll be kind of assigned some more. So we have kind of a religion issues, kind of a sports competition issue, and our issue 6 is going to be hinterlands, all about the border regions.
So how many of these, and you may have said this, how many of these did you produce?
We do 1,000 print run, and we've done 4 issues so far.
4 issues at 1,000.
Yeah, so 4,000 copies are floating out there.
And then in follow to that, you had mentioned that you would love to have 6 sponsors.
Yeah.
$3,000. And then is that for the whole year, or is that for each publication?
For each publication, yeah.
The print media has been challenged by the competition from digital media. Why did you choose to start up on print media?
Good question. Because this is a beautiful book that you could take with you to the lake and like to your bedside. You can read it at night. It's an actual product that you'll give me $15 for. Some of you will. You can't compete like that online. Digital revenue doesn't bring in the numbers like print does. And anecdotally, I know so many people who do read the magazine, just so many of my friends who they work on their computer all the time, and it's just becoming exhausting. And the last thing you want to do when you want to read for pleasure is like open up a screen. We still end up doing so because slightly addicted possibly, and it's just too easy to not. But I think honestly, print is seeing a resurgence. We've seen more small bookstores are opening up again. There's been a decline in like Kindle sales and e-readers over the years. People tried them out and decided, no, I'm going to go back to print. So there are some numbers to back this up. It's not all anecdotal, but I think it's really important. And then also in terms of design and art and photography, like when we do print, we have control over what it looks like. Whenever you're designing for a screen, you don't know if people are going to look at it on their Android phone or iPhone or a giant screen or a tiny laptop. And so that helps too. And then also just writers like to have it in print. There's something about seeing your name like printed in a magazine. And to that end too, like as the trust of the media continues to erode, print is solid. Like you can't take that back after it comes off of the printer. You can't like go back in and edit and say, oh sorry, we made a mistake, or we're going to change this information really quick. So from a journalism perspective, print is still important. I've heard from you yet.
Okay, well, you mentioned that this is a subscription-based product. Do you have access to these?
Yeah. So we have stockists, or that's what we call our who sell it. About a dozen in the region, and then a few other in some larger cities. Yeah. So not here in Sedalia though. So you know, a good store.
This nice book, beautiful pictures, everything. Do you feel competition from the Missouri Conservation?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Some similar stories, but
Yeah.
there's a lot more content in here.
Right. So these are independently reported stories, and the conservationist, they might hire freelancers for some stories, but especially in the past few years, they've just asked like, hey, conservation manager at this conservation area, can you write an article? And our editors will work with you to make it readable. And the photography is fantastic. And they do I grew up reading the Missouri Conservationist. I don't I love it. And I love that it, they have an audience of a lot of people that are reading their stories, so that's great. It's not a competition though, because it's free. You just go up and sign up online. It doesn't have the breadth of coverage that we have. We look at social issues and philosophy, just like possibilities, like bigger ideas. It's not always just like boots on the ground, what's happening. We have a literature section. There's nothing in the Midwest that is kind of like an anchor point for regional sense of place literature. We don't have an Oxford American or the New Yorker or, the West has a million publications. So yeah, our competition's pretty low. I would say Missouri Life might be closer, but at the same time, they're much more tourism focused. They're much glossier. They have that strong advertising model. Whereas we're definitely a more literary bent. Their stories top off at 2,000 words. Ours start at 2,000 words for our long articles.
On
all these various photographers that are featured in here that are your contributors. Going forward, is there any possibility there's any kind of cross promotion with them in terms of if they're featured in an exhibit or a show?
Oh yeah, yeah. We have done some of that. We've done some little mini events. We had a gallery of photos, 2 from issue 4 and 1 from issue 5. All the photographers did a gallery up in Lincoln, Nebraska. And then it's kind of open ended as far as, you know, if we can be or want to be affiliated. If they did a show or something, it varies, you know, contributor to contributor. Some of them are like our biggest fans, and some of them sent us a photo and then they're off doing their own thing again. But by and large, they've been a big support. The photographers especially like to see their stuff in print for sure. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but we're definitely open to relationships.
No, because I'm just thinking of the Kansas City Public Library and their author events.
Oh, okay.
You know, that draw hundreds of people, and there's always a table set up, you know, to sell the book.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. Libraries is something I've been wanting to tap into, so maybe we should talk more. Yeah.
If you look at the magazine industry, it's characterized by a number of startup magazines like yours that don't have a long life. So, what are your plans for a long life for this magazine? And if so, what steps are you taking in your business model to accomplish that?
Yeah, absolutely. I have plans for a long life. I've been trying out a whole lot of things. You know, you write a business plan and you say, we're going to get 2,000 subscribers within the first year. And then that doesn't happen. So then you have to recalibrate. So we've been constantly recalibrating. That's a good question. I don't know. Like, I'm trying a lot of things right now. And from, you know, having videos for advertising, we've gone out to events like St. Louis Earth Day or the True Falls Film Festival and things like that to try to get the word out. Still figuring it out. If you have any ideas, you know, let me know. But yeah, I mean, it's not like I just want to set up, make a whole bunch of money from advertising and then like, you know, drop off, plan it. Like this is almost a social enterprise. Like I have a mission to do something for this region. So I'm committed to try to make it work as long as I, you know, have the energy and stamina to keep trying things. Yeah.
Is there somebody that you admire does similar things that might be a mentor for you?
Good question. Yeah, definitely. We as in the independent magazine world have a pretty strong network. It's just so I've pieced it together, you know. But no, there's nobody like specifically mentoring me just because every publication is different, you know. Like I was informed on making this a print publication by Belt Magazine. Belt is a online magazine focused on the Rust Belt area. They do great journalism, really good stories, all membership based though. They wanted all their stories to be online for free so everybody could benefit from them. But then they didn't make a whole lot of money off of membership. They started making money when they were publishing anthologies of different cities. So those would sell really well in the bookstores. So like the Cincinnati anthology, or there's one called How to Live in Detroit Without Being an Asshole, and you know, like that one's done really well. So that's one informative thing. I'm always looking to great indie magazines to see like how they're marketing and what they're doing. So and I don't know. There's one publication called Offscreen that's a print magazine for digital people, like people who work in the digital world. And he's so forthcoming with all of his numbers and the things that he's tried out and things like that. And so that's been really helpful as well. Something that actually I want to do to kind of pay it forward, because now there are people asking me for advice. I'm like, you should take my advice, but you know, we'll see how far it actually goes.
Last question.
Have you ever considered tapping into like the local farmers market?
Yeah, I have considered it. It kind of gets back down to that, like, what is my time worth, and can I afford to be traveling all over the 5-state region to do that? And then if not, like what system can I create where I can set people up in their local areas? That's always been part of the plan. Is like, we'll have contributors in all of these 5 states, and they can do some of the heavy lifting. And sometimes they really have. But I just haven't started a system for the farmers markets. Part of that is all, again, because each farmers market is different. Some require that you have vegetables. Some require that 5% of the stands have, some sort of product that they've grown themselves. And then if you're not a local, it's kind of hard to like edge in there. So it's a great idea. That's one of our, target areas. Figuring out how to do it remains on the list. But good idea.
Final question, what can we as a community do for you?
Gift this to the readers in your family. Please take a copy home with you, and let them know, what we have going on. So that would be a big help. Again, if there are bookstores around in Sedalia or something, or I don't know if anybody has connections with the Dawn Museum of Art, but we are on shelves in some art museums, so that would be a good connection if they have a gift shop. And then otherwise, we are constantly looking for sponsors, and right now I think our sponsorship rates are pretty decent if you want to reach a wider Midwest audience. So there's all that, in addition to, of course, the social media follows. But thank you for your attention.
Thank you.